Welcome to Tyler's Tips. Today, we're going to talk about finding your composition. Okay, so first of all, what do I even mean by composition? To me, composition is nothing more than what do we choose to put inside the rectangle and what do we choose to leave out. That's it. In principle, it's really simple. In practice, I find it to be one of the most challenging and compelling parts of photography. I absolutely love it. And it drives me nuts sometimes, trying to find a really good one that works to tell the story. So I had an interesting conversation with one of my assistants I want to share with you guys because I think it's a compelling way to go about finding that composition. Or, well, helpful anyways, hopefully. Maybe not compelling, but helpful. So we were on a commercial shoot at the beginning of the shoot. As we often do, we took all of our equipment, we dumped it in a back room, and we were getting ready to leave that back room, and my assistant was pulling out a camera. And she's relatively new. We've only worked together a few times. So she said, "Hey, Tyler, what lens do you want to put on for the walkthrough?" And I said, "Oh, you know what? I don't take a camera with me when I'm doing a walkthrough. Let's just leave it here." And so we started walking out to meet with the client, and she said, "Hey, Tyler, I'm just curious, why don't you like to use a camera for sketching when you're doing your walkthrough?" Most of the other photographers that I work with, they do that. And my answer is what I want to share with you, because I haven't thought about it in a long time, and by asking that question, it made me address why I don't do that in my own head. And I've developed the habit over the years of not taking a camera, because for me, here's what happens. If I have a camera with me and I walk into a situation where I want to create a composition, I see something and I pick the camera up and I put it to my face and I work out that idea very specifically. And then that's the idea. My brain does not want to explore other options creatively, that's it. And it's very hard for me to be open-minded about alternative compositions or alternative ideas. And by that, I just simply mean, what if we stand over here? What if we stand here? What if we turn around and we look back that way? There are so many ways to compose an image. But for me, if I have that camera, the temptation is just too great to dive into that first idea, and then I'm kind of married to it. So what I started doing a long time ago is just, not even allowing myself to take the camera with me. And so I've effectively worked on that muscle of pre-visualizing, where I walk through without a camera, and it forces me to what is that going to look like with a 35 millimeter lens, or what is it going to look like if I put a 24 on there or a 17, what's it going to do? And I think about that, and it's really made me a much more open-minded composition finder. And that's the part that I really want to focus on with you guys is taking that same idea and applying it to any photography you do. It could be, if you're doing commercial work, obviously you have a whole framework. You can build that into your workflow. But if you're just taking a photo of your kids with your iPhone, which, by the way, I do a lot of that, the same challenge is there. If I pull my iPhone out and start shooting, I've stopped thinking. And if I take just a second, sometimes you don't have the option with your kids, by the way, because it happens really fast. But if you can stop and think, it's what's the story I'm trying to tell? And is the place I'm standing right now the spot? Or would it be better, if I come over here and I look at it from this angle? Is that going to be cooler? So there's my tip for you today. Take a second, think about the composition before you bring the camera up, because it'll be easier to stay open-minded if you haven't sort of seen exactly what the picture's going to look like. Maybe. At least for me, that's what I experienced. Hopefully, that's helpful information for you. So, as always, thank you for your time. And if you have any ideas or challenges with photography that you'd like to hear me talk about with one of these Tyler's Tips, shoot me an email, and I'll work it into a future episode. Until next time.